And
Yes.
that right there tells me a lot. That says, okay, so she's woke. Okay, so you get it. You understand what's going on. And you and I talked about what you're doing with Kinks and Curls and everything. And I was really impressed with not just the way you run your business, but also why you do things the way you do it. So let's start with that then. Kinks and Curls, tell us about your company and anything else you want to add to that.
So Kinks and Curls was founded in 2016 and the store opened in 2017. It was actually birthed from my own natural hair journey. Just like many Black women, I went natural probably almost 20 years ago. And back then, there wasn't a lot of options for us. You had your stylist that mostly were doing silk press and installing wigs. And then you have your African braid shops. And then as far as retail, there was you traditionally, most of our beauty supply stores are owned by Asians across. They just have that industry locked down. And then the big box stores at the time wasn't really carrying a lot of products. They may have had Shea Moisture and a couple of like Carol's Daughter, like some that had already sold to bigger conglomerates. And even then, they would only have like a limited amount of the line. So through my own journey, I cut my hair off. I was working in banking, so my background, I worked at SunTrust here in Atlanta for almost 19 years. I started as a part-time teller, and then I left as a project manager the last 4 years. But I cut all my hair off, and I showed up to these meetings now with this curly fro, and they're all looking at me like, "What's going on?" And so I had to start like really accepting it's a hard thing when you go natural. You get a lot of pushback. People like, "Oh, I liked your hair straight. Are you doing the natural thing?" So it can be a little bit scary. And where I found community was online. There were a lot of Black women on YouTube back then that were trying to figure it out together. That's where you've seen a lot of our current influencers and even hair care brand makers kind of started on YouTube, where they were mixing their own products at home in their kitchen. And then someone liked it. And then next thing you know, they have a business. And so I'm
Wow.
out there trying different things. One day I was in Target and a girl was like, "What are you using on your hair?" And I'm telling her, I'm like, "Well, you should try that. And you can try that." And then she's just putting it in the basket. And I'm like, you know what? We need a consult. We need a point of entry where we could get hair care, tips and consultation at the point of purchase. And then what
Mm.
really lit that for me is also when I went to Sephora. So I was also on like this skincare journey. I was, new me, everything. And I went to
Mm.
Sephora and they did a consult where they would scan your face with this little wand and then they would put in all of the different characteristics of your skin. And in this system, you get back every product in Sephora that worked for your skin type as well as the color match for your skin. And that's very important for us Black girls. We don't play about making sure that our foundation matches.